Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I want to be sure. I want to thank you all for being here. My name is Pauline Brooks, and I am board president for the California Alliance of Retired Americans. Welcome to our 22nd annual convention. This is our first all virtual convention. So we thank you in advance for your patience with any technical problems we will be having. From including several, we have packed the agenda for today. We have some great speakers, and we will be hearing from some questions. And at this point, I'm going to say it. Please make it a question that can be answered and not editorial. Thank you. So that we can fulfill our full day here. If you have any technical support needs that cannot be solved via the chat, we have a phone support line which you can reach by calling 510-663-4086. So we will move forward. Technically, for many of us, this is an adventure. Welcome, welcome. And we have a special Kara friend here who is also a full part of our convention. And he is none other than our own John Bowser, who is Senior Advisor to Social Security Works. And of course, we all who are 50 and over know him by I turn it over to John, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Pauline. And I did love your choice of words, which is we apologize in advance for any technical difficulties we will be having, rather than we may be having. That's usually the story on Zoom meetings. But welcome everybody to the very first Kara totally virtual convention. There have been 22. I've been at quite a few of them over the years, because we at Social Security Works just want to say to Kara that there is no better ally anywhere in America than this group. And we have done so much work already this year together. So many rallies outside hospitals and outside congressional offices to try to hold people accountable for the votes that they have been taking. And as many of you know, and many of you are participating in, this time period right now in the state of California is all about Prop 50 and making sure that Prop 50 gets passed. We are going to have to flip the House in 2026 in order to stop any more horrid legislation like the big ugly bill that was passed earlier by reconciliation. And if we don't flip the House, there's going to be another one of those coming down the pike in 2027. So we've got to make sure that we stop this. It's very dangerous, especially for seniors. It's dangerous for everybody, but seniors are one of the biggest targets of this kind of legislation. As you probably know, is the biggest Medicaid cuts in history by far, plus $500 billion coming out of Medicare. that doesn't get talked about very much. Right at this moment, the focus is on our junior seniors in a lot of ways, and that's important for CARA too, and for us at Social Security Works, because the Affordable Care Act subsidies not being extended affects people mightily in the years when they're most likely to get sick without health insurance, right before they can get to that wonderful program called Medicare that has made, along with Social Security, the biggest difference in the lives of American seniors in American history. These are the two most successful domestic programs of all. So, without getting too much in the weeds here at the beginning of this program, just understand that passing Prop 50 is an absolute necessity. The bear, and I have a few of them behind me. Okay, those pictures were taken in Alaska, I admit it. But the bear in California is going to roar on November 4th. This is a must. And I urge everybody to do what I am doing, which is show up every Monday at 12 noon on the CARA phone bank for yes on Prop 50. The vote is yes. Get that in everybody's head. And this has been a super effective phone bank. Rob will tell me whether we got to 100. I don't think we quite got to 100 last Monday. We are pushing 100 people on the phone bank, and that is amazing. We're making thousands and thousands of calls. They're not hard calls. They're fun. Most of them are yeses, and some of them are I don't know enough about it, and then you can persuade people, and they become yes. And the ballots have been sent out in the mail. I've gotten mine. Send it right back, and you can tell people if they get their ballot and send it back. The best news is they'll get taken off the list, and they won't be called anymore. So once their vote is in. So this is a critical time in the state of California. And the way I've been saying it is that we, for once, are the center of the universe. We are Delphi. In ancient Greece, Delphi was thought to be the center of the universe, and that's why they had the Oracle of Delphi there. We are the center of the electoral universe. We all know that we all have that feeling that sometimes our votes don't really count, like in the Electoral College. We still got to vote, but how much difference does it make? Right now, we make the biggest difference in America. When they go low, we fight back, and we are fighting back. I am the guy in the movie Grease. Pauline did refer to my Sha-na-na career. I'm the guy who in 1978, during the big scene at the Hop, when Sha-na-na sang every song, and Cha-Cha Di Gregorio and Danny Zuko were doing the limbo, I'm the guy who was somehow talking about what's going on in this regime that we have in Washington and this party that appears to be trying to decimate the lives of Americans, because I'm the guy who said, how low can you go? How low can you go? Say it with me. How low can you go? How low can you go? And it does seem as if there is actually no bottom. So when they go this low, we fight back. And that's my message for today. As Bowser would put it, bum 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 dang a dang dang a ding a dong ding. Yes on Prop 50. Ooh, those low notes are good in the morning. Now, my distinct pleasure to introduce my friend and doing a great job as the executive director of the California Alliance for Retired Americans, Rob England.
John, thank you so much for being here and for introducing the convention. Hi all, Rob England, Executive Director for CARA. Today I am going to review the events that we're going to be conducting today. So after my introduction here, we are going to hear from our Senior Vote Committee. Senior Vote is our electoral program that we run every 2 years. And then after that, we will go into what many of you are coming here for, our California Gubernatorial Candidate Forum.
So my name is Zoltan Istvan, and I'm running for California governor, of course, as you know, and as a Democrat. And a lot of people know me around the world as one of the leading futurists that discusses topics of artificial intelligence, technology, and science. But we are coming into an age where it has become increasingly known that technology is dominating every single aspect of our lives. And the problem here is that the world as we know it is probably not going to continue the same. Artificial intelligence and technology and science are not the same types of things that we have had the last 100 years, given how powerful they've become. So we really need a gubernatorial candidate that can address those issues. And I got to be honest with you, not the president, not the current governor of California, no politician right now is addressing some of the big 800-pound gorillas in the room, that technology is increasingly challenging our lives. But more importantly, technology is going to challenge the very nature of the job market and our jobs entirely. In fact, we are predicting probably within 5 years, 50% of California jobs will be lost due to automation and humanoid robots taking all sorts of the work that we have. So that leaves us in a very precarious predicament. What do we do with the state and the country as a whole? And that's where my gubernatorial comes in. We have what we have proposed, an automated abundance economy, which has three components to it. To begin with, I have a lot of Andrew Yang staffers on my gubernatorial campaign. So we very much support a universal basic income. And for retirees, that's, I think, really important because we're going to be adding additional income to your retirement. Whatever it is that you're receiving right now, we will add to it. So that makes it beneficial for you, of course. The second part of our automated abundance economy is really that, whether people believe this or not, if you don't know this, literally within 12 to 18 months, there will be many humanoid robots running around. They're about 6 feet tall. They're being produced right now in the United States, in China, and things like that. In fact, just recently I saw one on Walmart for $21,000. We have automation that's going to be doing our laundry, that's going to be doing our cooking. Not already, in San Francisco, if you haven't been here, there are driverless cars, Waymos all over the place. The point is that very soon, within a 5-year period, probably the majority of California households will have a robot in their house that does a huge amount of their chores. And this is something I support. And I'm also trying to either lease, rent, or sell a robot to every California household. It sounds a little science fiction, but believe me, it's almost like saying ChatGPT was science fiction 2 or 3 years ago. And here we are with a plateau and all the jobs in Silicon Valley, and probably very soon this huge carnage of a job apocalypse because of artificial intelligence. And the third component of my automated abundance economy is really trying to imagine what is left of the American dream when AI and automation does everything. And we're trying to reimagine. Now, for retirees, that might be a little different because you're already kind of at the end of your dream, hopefully living the life you wanted and living a much more leisurely and a life, hopefully, that doesn't involve the 9-to-5 grind. But for the rest of us, including myself, there's this huge problem. What do we do when AI and automation challenges everything that we have and takes away our jobs? For example, Bill Gates recently said that even doctors within a 5-year timeline will be challenged. We'll probably lose many, millions of jobs through their different types of automations that can just simply do. Now, if doctors can be replaced around the world in the United States, they certainly can replace the typical business job or the MBA job. And they're certainly going to replace all the attorneys and accountants and jobs like that. And of course, I'm in real estate. That's been the source of my business for a long time. They're also going to do that. But let me real quickly, while I just have another minute left, give you a little bit of a background on who I am. I took my degree in philosophy from Columbia University in New York City. I recently graduated with an ethics degree from the University of Oxford in England. I'm formerly a National Geographic journalist. I have spoken all over the world, advised presidents, spoken recently at the United Kingdom Parliament, spoken at the World Bank, spoken at the World Economic Forum. So I've had my share of advising and being involved with governments, including the United States military as well. As a futurist and someone who sees things that oftentimes are not seen by other people, including all the gubernatorial candidates that are running right now. So if you're looking for somebody to really upend the status quo, I'm your person. I have a vision for the future in dealing with AI and automation. One of the biggest problems with California right now, and let me just, I didn't say this in my opening speech, but I'll say it right now, is I'm someone who wants to end a lot of the regulation. In fact, of all the gubernatorial candidates that are Democrats, I'm probably the furthest right leaning. That may not seem like that because I support a universal basic income, but in terms of where I stand, I'm much more like Bill Clinton in the old school Democratic way. So when we talk about long-term care, I'm hoping that the universal basic income that I'm proposing will allow people to afford the long-term care that they're going to need for their health issues. Additionally, we're supporting initiatives to try to, this may sound again bizarre, but there are now about $200 billion into the anti-aging world. A lot of it is based in Silicon Valley. I've been someone who supported this extreme longevity ideas for a long time. And we're probably within 5 to 8 years coming to a point where we're going to have some very real success in at least stopping aging, and potentially within a 10 to 15 year span, reversing aging. So again, when you look at long-term care, you have to consider what Silicon Valley is doing, just as you might consider what artificial intelligence is doing to the job market. But bottom line is, I believe my universal basic income will be the thing that really helps with long-term care and other forms of healthcare as well. At this point, I'm not into taking money away from any more funds. In fact, I would stop a lot of what Trump has done. I know too many people, including my wife, who's an OB/GYN and a nonprofit place. There's just too much defunding going on. It's hurting people. So at this point in time, there's no more defunding going on in California. If I was governor and I could stop it, I would, however, try to reduce administrative costs as well as regulation that has been harming California. But no more stopping of funding when it comes to those kinds of things. This is a very difficult question because you're balancing the capitalistic markets with what is best for people in those nursing homes. Listen, I think maybe as this doesn't sound very Democrat or liberal of me, but I think we could have greater punishments for people that harm those in nursing homes, increase the sentencing and things like that, and the sentences themselves. If you were to do something like that, you might scare the people that are taking care of those people in the nursing homes to be better human beings. So that's one way I would do it. But I think you could have a little bit more, regulatory oversight of the entire process as well. It does seem like the nursing home business is sort of the Wild West. So we could have some more oversight on that. I do not support that at this moment in time. The numbers and the information that I've seen doesn't add up into something that is going to actually benefit healthcare for a lot of people. I think, though, however, you have to understand, like, my entire basis of a gubernatorial campaign rests very firmly on a central core principle, on the universal basic income. So if we could provide a universal basic income, it's then going to give enough money so people can afford the healthcare that they want. So this is, and the same thing with the housing, and the same thing with a lot of problems. I think if people just had a Band-Aid right now, if everyone had an extra $1,000 coming in, a lot of these questions that we're asking wouldn't even be asked, because you'd say, oh, well, I'm just going to pay for it with that, or I'm going to pay for it with this because I have a universal basic income. So that's really my way of solving the healthcare crisis, I think, that we're having here in California. And I hope one day the United States of America would follow through on the same. Well, of course, I support such a concept. My concept is a universal basic income. Basically, the way we want to do the basic income is starting with those who lose their jobs. But the truth is, day one in office, let's say I was elected governor, we would try to establish a universal basic income for everyone, except maybe the top 5 or 10% of earners in the state right now. So yes, we would absolutely support something like that, whether or not you lose your job. But if you lose your job, even more so, we would probably try to give you a higher universal basic income than those who might still be working. But just to be totally honest, and if you're looking at the numbers and you're looking at the job market today, you're seeing the plateau in Silicon Valley. We're all subject to losing our jobs through automation and these humanoid robots that are literally being already produced in China and in the United States as well. I mean, if you look at like some of the satellite maps, you can see the footprints of these big giant buildings going up, where they're going to be mass producing hundreds of thousands, potentially millions of these tall robots next year. they are coming for your job. Like South Korea recently, instead of hiring 1,000 welders, they decided to put in an order for 1,000 robots to do the welding. This is going to be happening systematically to everyone across this country and frankly to everyone around the world. So at some point, we really have to come together as society and talk about how we can stop the, not necessarily stop the job apocalypse, but how can we pay people so that they can continue their lives even if they are permanently out of a job. And let's be honest, this is not, robots taking your job is not like, oh, I just losing my job and going to another job. This is a forever thing. Society is going to be transitioning into this AI age. And this really means that very few people, probably less than 10% over a 15 or 20-year period, will ever work again. Yeah, a very tough question. It's very hard right now to imagine how to do that. It's possible California could create a secondary guard to what it already has, something that might like mirror what the federal guard is, but be a different arm of the California Guard. I mean, these are things that might happen. It's possible that we could increase our police force. I'm a big supporter of, because of job losses coming, to try to increase the human police force now. Same thing with the fighter force. So we might be able to find ways to overcome a big federal presence, but as it is right now, constitutionally, it's very tough. And I think what California has to do is just try to fight back. And really, the Democrats have to be very, very smart. They need to be better at governing in order for when 2028 comes, we might be able to have a Democratic president. I want to be, as frank as I can be. Unlike the other candidates, I'm not that committed to protecting the California environment over giving people in California money and resources. Right now, we have a huge poverty rate, 15%, could be actually a lot higher. We have children, some few million of them going to bed at least malnourished, maybe even hungry at night. I know a lot of Democrats really want to protect the environment. And believe me, I love protecting the environment. I worked in National Geographic for many years. I did a lot of environmental stories, but I care about the people of California, the actual citizens that live here. So when we talk about what's best for California, for me, it's not what's best for the nature of California. It's what's best for the people. Now, of course, there's a balance there. I don't want to destroy things, point blank, but I think I would spend a lot more money on helping people in poverty in California and worrying less about the hooded owl and things like that, that really, I think, are not addressing the needs of Californians themselves. And I hope that doesn't upset too many people. I don't in any way want to say that honestly, I was an executive, a director of a nonprofit organization as well, and helping animals and wildlife and trees and things like that. But there are just too many poor people in California that don't have safety, don't have enough to eat. I want to take care of them first. That's my first priority. Like, I think the last question, when it comes to this issue of race and DEI and just equality, I'm not the biggest proponent of trying to create a system where all the groups get in all together. I want fairness. I want people that are the strongest to rise up and lead us through society. Now, that doesn't mean I don't want to help people. I actually have been a somewhat supportive of affirmative action in the past, but I think we have gone too far one direction. So at this point in time, I would like to see merit be something that rises up again in California and hopefully leads us all to a better world. But of course, when it comes to working together and races and things like that, it's obviously best that we are just one union and we stop fighting amongst ourselves. In fact, we should stop fighting amongst ourselves so that we can take on the conservatives better and win back the federal government. But I think there's a huge amount of very woke people out there in the Democratic Party, and I'm not one of them. I'm one who just wants to see old school liberalism restored and get back on our feet so we can take on the conservatives.